Hey everyone, Timola here from foxreviews.info and welcome to this week's edition of the weekly Forex Alpine Review. I hope you're all well and that you had a great trading week last week. Before I get into this week's review, I first off would like to mention how much I appreciate you all, and I appreciate all the support and the likes and the shares and the comments I receive on a regular basis. And if you do appreciate this video this week, please do not forget to click the like button to show your support. Every like is appreciated. And also, if you have a comment below this video. Okay, the first pair I'd like to highlight is USD, and I'm on the 4-hour chart. Last week in price action, USD's price pulled back and retested the 113.38 zone area. And on that recent test last week, the bulls took control, pushing price all the way up to that previous low area, looking left. What I'd like to highlight in this market this week is that potentially this market may continue to the upside this week, breaking above this recent high and continuing all the way up to the 115.50 zone area for all those people holding a buy trade on this market. However, if price pulls back and retests the 113.38 zone area again this week, what I'd like to highlight is that this is still a great area on this market to look for bullish evidence in this area and a potential with the upside. Potentially move all the way up to this recent high and low looking left as a potential management point area to the upside, or potentially move all the way up to the 115.50 zone area to the upside. Okay, well that's it for USD. Okay, the next pair I'd like to cover is US dollar Swiss, and I'm on the daily chart. Last week in price action, US dollar Swiss tested within the $1.24 high area. And as you can see, when price came into the zone, price tested quite deeply in this area. And then the bears started taking control in this important zone. And what I'd like to highlight on this market this week is that this is an area, a great area on this market for all those people who are not in a sell trade on this market already, to consider a potential bearish opportunity in this area. And look for a potential move to the downside. Potentially move all the way down to this previous high, or all the way down to this low, or potentially move all the way down long term to the 98.30 zone area to the downside. So overall on US dollar Swiss, holding that for all those people who are not in a sell trade on this market already, that the $1.24 zone area is a great area on this market to consider a potential bearish opportunity in this area. And look for a potential move to the downside from this important zone. Okay, well that's it for that market. Okay, next pair to cover is GBUSD, and I'm on the daily chart. On GBUSD this week, what I'd like to highlight is the 130.40 zone area. This is an area where price recently wick tested late in the week, last week. And you can see it's that previous high looking left back here, and this previous low looking left back here as well. This is an area on this market where on a pullback and test within this area this week. So I'd like to see price pull back and test a little bit higher. That this is an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area. And if I see a right bearish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way down to the 128.29 zone area to the downside. So overall on GBUSD, holding the 130.40 zone area as an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area and a potential move to the downside from this important zone. Okay, well that's it for that market. The next pair to cover is AUD, and I'm on the daily chart. Last week in price action, AUD was quite strong near the end of the week, pushing higher from the recent test of the 70.47 zone area. And what I'd like to highlight for all those people who are holding a buy trade on this market is that potentially this market may continue all the way up to that previous high looking left back here, or all the way up long term to the 73.35 zone area. And so in this week's review, what I'd like to highlight is the 73.35 zone area as a potential long-term trade area to the upside for all those people holding a buy trade on this market from the recent test of the 70.47 zone area, which is a potential bullish evidence area on this market. And also want to highlight the 73.35 zone area as an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area. And if I see a right bearish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way down to this previous high and low, looking left, or potentially looking for a move all the way down, all the way back down to the 70.47 zone area to the downside. So overall on AUSD this week, holding that price may continue to the upside this week. For all those people are holding a buy trade on this market from the recent test of the 70.47 zone area. Price may continue all the way up to this previous high or all the way up to the 73.35 zone area, and holding the 73.35 zone area as a potential long-term target area to the upside for all these people holding a buy trade from the 70.47 zone area, and also on the 73.35 zone area as an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence and a potential move to the downside from this important area. Okay, well that's it for that market. The next pillar to cover is New Zealand USD, and I'm on the 4-hour chart on this market. New Zealand USD was a great performing market last week for all those people that were holding a buy trade from the recent test of the 65 zone area. As you can see, when price came into this zone, the bulls took control. Price was a little bit up and down in here. Then the bulls took control again last week, pushing price strongly to the upside all the way up to nearly testing the 66.94 zone area, which was an area that I mentioned last week in the review as a potential long-term target area on this market. And I'm assuming that because price came very close to testing the 66.94 zone area, that most people that were holding a buy trade on this market from the recent test of the 65 zone area, that they've closed their position. However, if you are still holding a buy trade, what I'd like to highlight is the 66.94 zone area is a potential long-term target area to the upside. And also wanting to highlight, the 66.94 zone area is not only a potential long-term target area to the upside, but it's also an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area. And if I see right bearish evidence in this area, like I go over in the Forex training on the website, they're potentially looking for a move all the way down to this previous high area, looking left, or all the way down to this high, or all the way down, all the way back down to the 65 zone area to the downside. So overall on this market, holding that this market performed really well in price action last week for all those people who are holding a buy trade on this market from the recent test of the 65 zone area, with price moving all the way up to within that long-term target area, which is the 66.94 zone area that I mentioned last week in the review. And holding the 66.94 zone area as a potential target area for all those people that are still holding a buy trade on this market, as well as an area on this market this week where I'm just looking for bearish evidence and a potential move to the downside from this important area. Okay, well that's it for that market. The next pair to cover is New Zealand CAD, and I'm on the 1-hour chart. New Zealand CAD was a great performing market last week, similar to New Zealand USD, for all those people who are holding a buy trade on this market, with price continuing to the upside all the way up to the 86.90 zone area, which was a potential long-term target area to the upside that I mentioned last week in the review. And so overall, wanting to highlight that this market was a great performer for all those people holding a buy trade on this market from the recent test of the 85.16 zone area, hitting that long-term target area that I mentioned last week in the review on this market. And what I want to highlight on this market this week is that where price is testing the 86.90 zone area, that this is a great area on this market to consider a potential bearish opportunity in this area this week, and look for a potential move to the downside, potentially move all the way down to this previous high, or all the way down to this low, or potentially look for a move all the way back down to the 85.16 zone area to the downside. So overall on New Zealand CAD, holding this market was a great performer last week for all those people who are holding a buy trade on this market, hitting that long-term target area that I mentioned last week in the review, which was the 86.90 zone area, and holding the 86.90 zone area where price is testing within at the moment, that this is a great area on this market to consider a potential bearish opportunity in this area and look for a potential move to the downside from this important zone. Okay, well that's it for that market. The next pillar to cover is GBP CAD, and I'm on the daily chart. GBP/CAD was another great performing market last week. In the case of GBP/CAD, this market tested this daily low area, which is a potential bullish evidence area, which is the 166.42 zone area. And when price came into the zone, the bulls took control, pushing price strongly to the upside from this important area. What I'd like to highlight on this market this week is a potential long-term target area to the upside, which is the 171.39 zone area. This is a great long-term target area to the upside for all those people that are holding a buy trade from the recent test of the 166.42 zone area. And it's also an area to the upside on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area. And if I see a right bearish evidence in this area, like I go over in the Forex training on the website, then potentially looking for a move all the way down, all the way back down to the 166.42 zone area to the downside. So overall on GBP/CAD, holding this market was a great performer last week, giving a strong move to the upside from the recent test of the 166.42 zone area, and holding a potential long-term target area to the upside for those people holding a buy trade from the 166.42 zone area, and also holding the 171.39 zone area as an area on this market where we're just looking for bearish evidence and a potential move to the downside from this important area. Okay, well that's it for that market. The next pillar to cover is New Zealand yen, and I'm on the daily chart. New Zealand yen was another great performing market last week, and in the case of New Zealand yen, this was a great performing market for all those people who are holding a buy trade from the recent test of the 72.48 zone area. The 72.48 zone area is an area that I've highlighted in multiple previous reviews of this market as a potential bullish evidence area. And it's given a lot of nice moves to the upside on previous tests of this important zone. And on that recent test, you can see price came into this area, then the bulls took control, and then last week, they pushed price all the way up to the 74.94 zone area to the upside. And the 74.94 zone area is an area that I mentioned multiple times on this market in previous reviews as a potential long-term target area. So overall, New Zealand yen was a great performing market last week for all those people holding a buy trade from the recent test of the 72.48 zone area. And the 72.48 zone area was in particular a great performing zone. Well, it was a great performing zone on the daily, but it was in particular a great performing zone for all those people that traded this important area on lower time frames. What I'd like to highlight on this market this week is that where price is testing right now, which is the 74.94 zone area, that this is an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area. And if I see right bearish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way down, all the way back down to the 72.48 zone area to the downside. So overall on New Zealand yen, this market was a great performing market last week for all those people who are holding a buy trade with price moving all the way up last week and hitting that long-term target area, which is the 74.94 zone area. And also on the 74.94 zone area as an area on this market this week, where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area and a potential with the downside from this important zone. Okay, well that's it for that market. The next pillar to cover is GBP yen, and I'm on the daily chart. Last week in price action, GBP yen was testing within the 144 zone area, which was a potential long-term target area to the downside for all those people that are holding a sell trade from the test of the 148 zone area back here. And also a potential bullish evidence area, and an area that acted as support, looking left back here on the previous test, this important zone. And if I zoom out, acted as support back here and support back here in the past, looking left. Overall, the 144 zone area was a great performing zone last week, with the bulls taking control in this area and giving a strong move to the upside. A great performing zone for all those people that took a buy trade in this area. What I'd like to hold in this market this week is that potentially this market may continue to the upside, potentially all the way up to retest the 148 zone area. So wanting to highlight the 148 zone area as a great target area to the upside for all those people who are holding a buy trade in this market from the 144 zone area. And also wanting to highlight the 148 zone area as an area on this market where I'm just looking for bearish evidence in this area. And if you see right bearish evidence in this area, then potentially looking for a move all the way down, all the way back down to the 144 zone area to the downside. Of course, being aware of this previous high looking left as a potential management point area to the downside. Okay, well that's it for that market, and that's it for me for this week's edition of the review. Thanks for watching. If you appreciate this video today, please do not forget to click the like button to show your support. Every like is appreciated, and it's a great way of letting me know you want more videos like this on a regular basis. And it's also a great way of letting other people know about these videos. And like I said before, I really do appreciate it. If you have a question or comment on this week's edition of the review, comment below this video. Also, if you haven't checked out the Forex training on the website, such as the Engulfing Trader, the 5-day training series, or the Counseling training series, or the newer training, which is called the Zone Trader training series, where you can find out all about this Forex training by clicking on the links below this video. Okay, well, I hope you all have a great trading week and happy trading.